For us as Women's Ministries Lead Team, Change Matters means women making change through their giving. And that's what this fund is about, raising money for home missions. This fund has been in place since back in the early 80s. It originally started to meet the practical needs of our home missions churches. But the fund has expanded so much because of the wonderful giving of our women across this province. In the last 10 years, the Women's Ministries of Newfoundland and Labrador have given over $1 million. What started out as just giving pennies have turned into an amazing part of this fellowship.
I'm Pastor Marion Randall, and right now my husband, Pastor Roy, and I are ministering in Placentia at Family Worship Center. That's on the Southern Avalon. We've been there 9 years. This summer we will be going into our 10th year. There's many exciting things and rewarding things about home missions. To just go into a community, a new community where you've never been and don't know anybody there, and to go into the community and to be a part of the community and then to become the community. When it was Pennies for Pioneers, we did get appliances and drapes and blinds and flooring and those kinds of things for the churches and the parsonages.
My name is Ashley Kendi. I'm the Youth and Christian Education Pastor at Springdale Pentecostal Church in Springdale. My parents went into full-time ministry when I was entering grade 2. The call came for us to move to Brigby, which I didn't know much about. I was really young, and we moved there and moved into full-time ministry. I learned from a very young age in a small assembly that my role was significant in the kingdom of God and in the work of the church. And I think part of that was the great need that was in that, home missions assembly. I remember when we moved there into that older parsonage in Brigby, how the carpet was not in very good shape. And I remember when they decided that Pennies for Pioneers, which is now Change Matters, was going to redo the flooring and the carpet in our house. And I remember that I was going to get purple carpet in my bedroom. And I was so excited. And it was just this incredible thing that I understood that my life and my role in this church, I had value because someone was standing behind us and supporting our ministry.
The reason that we decided to go with the name Change Matters was twofold. One was we recognized that it would not tie us to one particular coin, so that if we decided to go with the nickels or the dimes or the quarters or the loonies, whatever, if something happened to that down the road, that wouldn't matter. But mostly what we wanted to look at was what it represented. It's not just about raising pennies. It's not just about women doing their thing in their churches. It's about raising money to help in the communities across our province of Newfoundland and Labrador.
My name is Matt Joy. I'm married to Kayla. We have 2 children, Kendrick and Kiriella, and right now we're currently serving at Spruce Hills Community Church as lead pastors there in Paradise. Being right in the metro area is different in and of itself in terms of how urban the context is and feels. Such a young community. It's one of the fastest growing in Atlantic Canada. And right now, just to give you a glimpse of our community, we've got 3 elementary schools at this point that are blocked at capacity and overflowing. Our church is reflective of that. Our demographic at our church is just that. My wife and I and our 2 young kids is almost a picture of our community and our church. I would say 80% of our church is young family-based or young adult. We've felt, number one, if we're going to be aware of our surroundings and be speaking into and serving into that, we need to be a next generation focused church. Going forward, we want to continue to sow seed in that and look for a harvest there. One of the greatest, short-term initiatives I think that many of our churches do is VBS. It's worked, it's engaging, it's fun, and the gospel gets presented in a really neat way and clear way that speaks to the kids. The last couple of years in our leadership there, we've been able to avail of funds from the Home Missions Department to kickstart and to launch an outreach of that magnitude in our community. And again, the response has been fantastic, and we wouldn't have been able to do that otherwise.
I'm Pastor Junior Andrews, and I'm currently serving in Nain, Labrador. So we have a small church, small facility there that on a good given night we roughly have 30 people probably.
My name is Ivy Andrews. I started a women's group called WOW, Women of Worth. I've seen changes in their lives, as some of them just once alcoholics and now they don't even drink anymore. I'm so thankful for the women's groups in Newfoundland that have so encouraged us. Of course, we raise funds every year to come to the women's conference in Lewisport. It was so important to them to feel the love from the women from this island. They couldn't believe that people they had never met would show them so much love. It was just something special for them. And every year now, it's just the highlight of their year to be able to come to this conference.
Change matters, and of course we knew it as Pennies for Pioneers. It helps out in a couple of aspects. One, in the financial part, in that it provided a refrigerator for our parsonage. It provided a table and chairs. We had a table with only 3 chairs, and now we can sit 6 people to our table. But far beyond that,
it's the prayerful support and encouragement.
Knowing that somebody out there's got your back and that they trust you. You wonder, you question, is there anybody around? Is God even hearing me today? And then you come out to a conference, or you come out and you talk to people and they say, on such and such a day, our women's group were together and we had your back that day. And then I go back, sometimes I'll pull out my notes and I'll look at it and say, you know what, that was a day that, wow, it was a struggle that day. And to realize that when we go out there and we're on the firing line, somebody somewhere is behind us.
As Women's Ministries is moving forward, we see a new generation of women arising.
I think the key thing with my generation, millennials, is that we want to give to a cause. We want to be a part of a cause. To know that it's not just somebody knocking on the door looking for money, but we're actually supporting something that's important, has value.
Change matters because people matter. And people matter. People matter to God. People matter to the women of our province.
Thank you so much for what you've done and how you've sowed, and would ask you to continue to do it. It's certainly reaping a reward.
Knowing that somebody's behind you can cause you to do a lot more for the gospel of Christ.
Whether you have a group or not, we can all have a part in raising monies for the Home Missions Fund.
But the point is that we've grown and cultivated a heart and love for our province, for every corner of it, and where God's people are serving.
Because not everyone has heard, change will always matter.